This is your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, February 26, 2014, brought to you by the National Cannabis Coalition. I'm Russ Belville. Lawmakers in Maryland are moving ahead with decriminalization and legalization bills despite opposition from law enforcement and the governor. Lawmakers feel the decriminalization bill has the best chance of passing, as Governor O'Malley has signaled his opposition to outright legalization. The bill to legalize marijuana for adults is estimated to bring in $100 to $130 million for the state. Senator Jamie Raskin, a legalization supporter, said, quote, "We have criminalized and demonized tens of thousands of our fellow Marylanders, and yet we have not put a dent into the demand for the drug," end quote. In opposition, head of the Maryland Chiefs of Police, Michael Pristoop, warned the lawmakers about the 37 overdose deaths that occurred in Colorado after legalization, citing a satirical story for which he has now apologized. Chief Pristoop added, quote, "This does not take away from the other facts presented in opposition to legalization," and warned, "We believe it sends a horrible message to our kids who otherwise have been told consistently that marijuana is dangerous," end quote. The San Diego City Council has passed medical marijuana zoning regulations even stricter than the 2011 regulations activists worked to repeal. In an 8-1 vote, the council ruled there could be no more than 4 dispensaries per city council district. Dispensaries must be 1,000 feet from the usual schools, parks, playgrounds, etc., and also must be 100 feet or more from a residential area. Zoning will force most dispensaries into industrial areas, and they will be inspected annually by the San Diego Police Department. Dispensaries are banned from having any doctors on site for writing recommendations. The new regulations are considered stricter than the regulations established in 2011, which activists gathered enough signatures to force the council to rescind. That had the effect on making all dispensaries legal, and now most of them will be forced to close thanks to the new regulations. Less than 1 in 4 Texans would maintain absolute prohibition on marijuana. A new poll from the University of Texas and the Texas Tribune found that only 23% of Texans believed marijuana possession should not be legal under any circumstances. Another 28% of Texans believe marijuana possession should be legal for medical purposes only, leaving 49% of the state in support of legalization for healthy people. Those who support legalization break 2-1 in favor of possession of small amounts of marijuana for any purpose at 32%, versus those who favor legalization of any amount at 17%. The governor of Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee, has signaled his openness to signing a marijuana legalization bill. Governor Chafee attended the National Governors Association winter meeting in Washington, D.C., and told a Bloomberg reporter the fiscal reports from Colorado's legalization, quote, "opened a lot of eyes," end quote, and that he would not rule out signing tax and regulate legislation. 2 weeks ago, Senator Joshua Miller and Representative Edith Aiello introduced bills that would allow adults 21 and older to possess an ounce, grow 2 plants, and shop at 10 pot shops statewide. Marijuana would be taxed at $50 per ounce from grower to shop and taxed 10% from shop to consumer. Chafee's willingness to approach legalization shows how far marijuana politics have come from 3 years ago, when U.S. attorney threats caused him to delay the opening of state-regulated medical marijuana dispensaries. Activists in our nation's capital spoke before the District of Columbia Board of Elections, urging them to allow a marijuana legalization initiative on the ballot. Last week, D.C. Attorney General Irvin B. Nathan urged the Elections Board to reject the proposed ballot initiative. Nathan says the initiative runs afoul of federal marijuana prohibition and would disproportionately affect the poor who rely on federal housing, which will evict them for marijuana even if D.C. says it is legal. Adam Eidinger, a leading activist for the initiative, explained that, quote, "the civil rights issue is with the federal government, not us. We're trying to alleviate the problem," end quote. The board will decide the issue next week, whether activists can go forward and collect 25,000 signatures to put it on the ballot. If passed, D.C. would legalize the possession of 2 ounces of marijuana and 3 plants. Also next week, the D.C. City Council is expected to approve a measure decriminalizing personal possession of marijuana. Tomorrow, Minnesota NORML will be hosting a presentation of American Spirits, The Rise and Fall of Prohibition at the Minnesota History Center in St. Paul. Speakers include Keith Stropp, the founder of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, Major Neil Franklin, Executive Director of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, and me, Russ Belville, from 420 Radio. The exhibit includes more than 100 rare artifacts. Tickets are available online from Minnesota NORML at mnnormal.org. This has been your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, February 26, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available exclusively at the National Cannabis Coalition. Visit ncc420.com to download today. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines on my unfortunate prophecy, The Danger of Dabs, from December of 2011, which now seems to have come true in CNBC's latest article. Dabs, marijuana's explosive secret. The law office